Hello, everyone's Forest Focus for our latest Reds fan phone-in, as we also discuss the latest news on injuries from Morgan Gibbs-White and Matz Sels, plus transfer interest in Ola Aina. Joining me to discuss all that and take your calls, first of all, is Mikey Clarke. Mikey, evening, how are you?
Evening. Yeah, I'm good, thanks, mate. How are you?
Not too bad, not too bad. I rushed the dinner. It was very good. So make it on time, well, relatively on time as we ever are. So yeah, all good. Good to be here. Second guest is Mark Sutherns. How are you this evening, Mark?
I'm good. I've been practicing Milinkovic over and over again until I get it right. So yeah, I'm all good. And by the way, roast lamb on a Wednesday is lavish to say the least, but well played.
I know. Well, Mrs. Davies was returning from 2 days away with work, so I thought I'd better attempt to get in good graces the moment she walked through the door. So yes, I think hopefully it went.
That would win me over, Matt. Do me roast lamb on a Wednesday. That would win me over.
Noted for the future. Yeah. You mentioned I almost said Milenkovic there. Milenkovic, I've been saying. Other people have been saying it. Our most recent lovely iTunes review just said not Milenkovic. So with that in mind, me and Mark were chatting last night, and you can find out how players pronounce their names. So this is how Nikola Milenkovic or Milenkovic pronounces his name. And see how it's. Have a listen, see what you think.
Nikola Milenkovic.
Perfect. I think
see that sounds like it's halfway between what you say and what I say, doesn't it?
I think so. I'm going to play it one more time. One more time. Here we go.
Nikola Milenkovic.
Perfect. I think so. I said to you, I say it like a generic English football fan, and you say it like
well, I was saying Milenkovic, wasn't I? And people were going, no, it's Milenkovic. But when you listen to him saying it, it's kind of halfway. So I don't know. I like to think we're both right, but I'll do what you do. Don't worry. I don't want to get dug out in iTunes reviews. So yeah.
Mikey, have you got a strong opinion, a casting vote on this, or are you going to sit on the fence?
It's a difficult one. It's like Awani and Awonyi, isn't it? It's just, I don't know. I think I say Milenkovic, but it sounds as if he was a little bit more in Mark's camp. But
yes.
It is what it is. Nothing's wrong. Yeah.
Well, it's a bit like Ola Aina and Ola Aina as well. I think he says you can say it either way. So there you go. Yes, I did have mint sauce Pat Brett with my roast lamb. You have to.
See, I like mint jelly, Matt. Have you ever tried
jelly?
that?
No.
Yeah, it's got a sweetness to it. Yeah. Nice.
Okay, interesting. Right, good to have people with us. Like I say, I shall put the recording link as ever with these phone-ins. I'll put it in the live chat. People can come on and talk about roast lamb, Milenkovic, or anything to do with Forest. I'll leave that with you. We'll spend the first 10 minutes or so chatting about the news of the day, and then it's on you guys to jump in and carry us for the following 40 minutes or so. Start with, I guess, Matz Sels, Mark, missing international duty with an adductor injury, which I think is like a problem. I don't think it's too serious. I was talking to, clanging name drop here, Henry Winter for tomorrow's podcast, which is out first thing. And he says something about, if he did it in the warm-up against Chelsea, then he can obviously manage it. So I don't know if that was some insider info. But does that encourage you? Are you fearful? We've got Carlos Miguel in reserve. What's your view on the goalkeeping situation if Sels is injured?
Well, if he did do it in the warm-up before Chelsea, it didn't show in his performance, did it? So, and there was no signs at the whistle that he'd injured himself. I mean, there was a couple of times when he made those saves, he laid flat on the ground as if he was exhausted, but that was just him game management, wasn't it? That was just him doing, what we want at that time to try and burn a bit of time. So I don't think it showed in any shape or form throughout the game. It didn't look like he came off with an injury on the whistle and like that. So I'd like to think that it's one of those international break injuries where he's got a little something and they don't want to aggravate it, and maybe he wouldn't have played for Belgium anyway. He's not necessarily their automatic number one, is he? And he'd want to build on that performance at Chelsea. I expect he can't wait to get out on the pitch and build on what he showed at Stamford Bridge.
I did have a look at the Belgium squad. Courtois is not in it, but then Sels was third choice in the Euros behind Casteels, who is in it. So I don't think he'd necessarily start anyway. I think he will play Palace, to be honest, Mikey. Yeah. But you want him to, because it's such terrible luck if he has that performance at Chelsea, then can't.
You do. It was his, I think you guys said it on a previous show, it was his breakout performance, wasn't it? Which sounds a bit daft because I remember being at Sheffield last year and he was fantastic, but that was a different level. from him at the weekend. Some of those saves were unbelievable, and just rightly cemented his place as number one. I remember talking to, I think it was Kelvin, it might have been off air, and I think he was saying around players were always carrying injuries, always little knocks. It's very rare that you go through a season without just a little niggle. And it sounds to me as if that's kind of what it is. And if Henry Winter's right, and perhaps he did, if he's hinted that he did do it in the warm-up, but he still played arguably his best game since he joined us, I don't think it's too much to worry about. I think Mog's correct. I think it's probably one where the international break has come at a good time. We're also playing on the Monday, aren't we? So he's even got another 48 hours to rest, which, when we come on to Morgan, I think that could just push him along and get him to start as well. Having those extra 48 hours could be crucial. So I don't think there's much to worry about Sels. He was fantastic. I watched the highlights again last night. He was really, really good. Really good. So, yeah, I don't think it's too much to worry about that.
I think the other thing about Sels that is good for Mark is, last season he was overworked in a few games, wasn't he? This season he's had so much protection in front of him. We haven't conceded any 3 goals. But then he came up big for us when he needed to. I don't know if you've had a chance to look at the stats overall for Premier League keepers, but is he mid-table now, or from what you've seen?
I will have a look while we're on here, and then we'll dig those out. He was mid-table previous to the Chelsea game. I think he was like 0.50, so almost one expected goal over performing. So he was in a lot better state than he was last season, where the XG prevented showed that he should have saved more of the goals than we conceded than he did. That hasn't been so far this season, but we have protected him really well, like you say. So I think that was the first game where he was tested on a regular basis with, I would say, very difficult saves to make there. Certainly the second save from Palmer was outstanding. That was not only getting up off the first save, but also anticipating where Palmer would try and put that and having the strong arm to push it away. Probably the best save he's made in his Forest career, I would say. And like Mikey said, he made a couple of notable ones at Sheffield United, but I don't think I've ever seen him pull something like that off in a game for us so far. So, yeah, there's plenty to build on for him. And I hope he's a confidence player and that he will take that performance and go, right, now I can build on that, like I say, and show that he is a top-class keeper. I've been harsh on him. I've said that we've needed to buy in that area. I'm still reserving judgment there. I still think that the club still feel we can push in that position and look again. But Sels has made a hell of a claim there to be our number one for this season and beyond.
What was I thinking while you dig that out? Liverpool at home was the one that sprung to mind, that save. I think it came off Murillo. That was the one that stood out. And also, yes, also Liverpool related. Alisson's out for a while till after the international break. And if you're Liverpool, I don't think you sell Kelleher in January now, no matter what, because Alisson keeps getting hamstring injuries. So it's pretty freakish for a keeper. But I think that probably ends that one. So yeah, just on that. Thank you very much, Chris Dent, for becoming a new member. Very much appreciate that, Chris. I'll answer a couple of live chat questions while Mark digs out those stats, and then we'll move on to Morgan. Mark Douglas says it's mint jelly in the US. No one eats lamb. I've seen that. No one does eat lamb in America, which is a bit weird, certainly. Lee, what are we drinking tonight? This is Korev Cornish lager. Decent, not amazing, but decent if anyone's looking for something for a new lager to try. Mikey's on Coke and Mark is on tea. Mark normally has a beer as well. I think he's regretting his choice now. Have you got those stats?
I have. So he's plus 0.20. So basically, in other words, he is overachieved his XG prevented by 0.2. So he sits mid-table with the likes of Edison's on 0.50. So keeping good company. Kepa's 0.50. Muric, who was right at the top last year, is on 0.70. To give you a bit of context, Hermansen of Leicester is top. He's actually prevented his +4. So in other words, he should have conceded 4 more goals than he has. I think all of that was achieved at the Emirates in that 12-save performance, right? Onana's second, 3.30. So Sels is showing up to be, a decent level and keeping good company alongside the likes of Leno, Verbruggen, Ederson, Kepa, Muric. So by no means were. And Martinez of Villa, he's down at 0.80. So actually, he's underperforming. And Martinez is, in many people's eyes, the best keeper in the world. So it probably shows you what we can read into that.
Yeah, he's not the best keeper in the world in my eyes. I don't know who is, but I find it hard to say anything nice about him unless he signs for us with his antics. We'll go. I'll throw the link in shortly. Just a couple of other things to sweep up quickly. Morgan Gibbs-White, Mikey, our friend Paul Taylor, who I used to work with, and is a mate of mine and yours, reporting in the Athletic that he could be fit for the Palace game. I mean, just the fact he's not going to miss substantial games, touch wood, is massive, because if he'd been out for the season or 6 months or whatever, that would have been an absolute disaster, wouldn't it?
It would, because he's the talisman. Everything's built around him. And when he went down injured on Chelsea on Sunday, and it took 6-7 minutes taking his boot off. If you watch it again, so I watched the highlights again last night, you can see the doctor sort of shaking his ankle and moving it left and right and just testing whether there's anything broken, pressing on the foot as well. And the bones just above the ankle, and obviously he was able to walk off the pitch, which I thought was, at the time, was a good sign. And then I think he's been pictured out and about without the boot, walking. Looks like he's not in too much pain. How much pain can you read from a photo? But it looks that way. I think it was the right decision for him, if there's any doubt whatsoever, to withdraw from England, rest up, and like I said before, playing on that Monday, every time I think about it, it's got so many positives for us. That extra 48 hours for players like Sels and Gibbs-White. The fact that it's a night game under the lights and our fans are incredible at the best of times, never mind during night games. The fact that it's against Palace, who are struggling. Everything's suggesting to me it could be a great night, and it would be a great night if we had our talisman in the team. And it looks like that's going to be the way. So fingers crossed. I trust Tails, like I said, his mate of ours, and I think that's probably some solid information that if things go according to plan, he might be okay. So I think it's good news all around.
Tempting fate a little bit here, Mark, but he does seem to recover quickly from injury. I don't know if Steve Cooper just rushed him back massively, but I remember Cooper saying, not that he said this just about Morgan, he said this kind of stuff a lot, but he's out for 3 games and he's back for the next one, I think it was against Man United. So touch wood, that bodes well.
Yeah, he's actually a resilient player, isn't he? When you look back on, he takes his fair share of knocks and he puts his body under a great deal of strain during 90 minutes, and yet he's very rarely broken down for us. So we've been fortunate in that way. So I think he is one of those players who is quite robust in that way, which is obviously a major attribute. So yeah, I'm very hopeful. Yeah, there was I think it was an Instagram post, wasn't it, that was made today. Someone said, well, he wasn't limping and he wasn't wearing a boot or crutches. So, the fact he's out and about, and like you said, he walked off the pitch, put weight on it. With the doctor was there and the physio was there rather. So, yeah, I think I'm in the camp of he's about 80% likely to play at the moment.
Yeah, if he's out and about in the city, then I think that bodes well. I think both. I touch wood. I think I keep saying that. I think both of them will play. Thank you very much, Chris. That's a very nice message. Glad you look forward to it daily. I'll drop the link in the chat now. If people want to jump in, do feel free, and we'll have a chat with you for 5 or 10 minutes. While we wait for people, then I will chat with these chaps about Ola Aina. Some reports coming out of Italy, Mikey, that Roma are interested with a mooted fee of 8 million, I think it was, which is low because he's only got a contract with us till the end of the season, which I guess needs rectifying.
It does. I think whatever happens with Ola, he's made an incredible contribution to Forest, not just this season, but last. He seems to be well liked. All the videos have Ola front and centre of them, which shows what a character he is and how much he's valued within the group. There's lots of whispers, actually more than whispers, about him having contract negotiations, and maybe this is just a gentle nudge in our direction to get it sorted. And you see this quite a lot, don't you? Players being linked with other clubs, and then a few days later, they've signed a new contract. John Duran last week, for example, linked with every club going. He signs a new contract. So, not saying that's the case, but that's my gut feel. I think he'll sign on here because it protects the club and also rewards Ola for a fantastic year or so that he's had with us. He'll obviously be on more money, greater terms, better terms. So it's a win-win for both the player and the club. And then if we do want to sell him or he wants to move on, we get a better fee than 8 million quid. So for me, it's just maybe a little nudge in our direction to get it sorted, and I hope that's something that we announce sooner rather than later, because he's a valued member. Just going back to Gibbs-White really quickly, Matt. If anybody, don't know whether anybody watches Football Focus on a Saturday anyway, but if they do,
they got really good guests on that.
Yeah, no, thanks, mate. Yeah, obviously you, Ron. But there was a great interview, and I don't undersell that. But it was really, really good with Morgan on the Saturday just gone. I think you can still download it. Dion Dublin does it. It's for about 6 or 7 minutes. He's walking by the Trent. There's some fans singing at him. He talks about his love for the club. He talks about getting into the England squad. And it just puts you under no doubt how much affection he's got for Nottingham Forest and how important he is for us. So if anybody missed that, I encourage you to download it and have a quick watch.
No one's clicked on the link yet, which is a bit unnerving. Normally we have like 4 or 5 people jump on straight away. If people are shy tonight, that's fine, no worries. Also on Aina, I mean, Rome is very enticing, Mark, but why would you leave in a sense now? He's playing regular Premier League football and a team performing well. Just sign a new contract, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I mean, Juric is the manager there, and he managed him at Torino, and he made 100 appearances for them, didn't he? So he knows him. So the manager knows him, and that, I don't know whether that makes it a lazy link that journos have done, or whether there's actually anything in it. But that's why there could be something in it, because the Roma manager has worked with him before, and we know he's a quality player. I think they play 3 at the back, so he'd be a wing back for them, and obviously we know he can do that. I like to think that Aina loves it at Forest and would want to stay, and it is part of agent negotiation to get a new contract, and we know that that's been kind of discussed. He's probably become very close to being my favourite player over the last 2 or 3 seasons. I think he's been absolutely fantastic signing for us. And I said last time I was on, I can't remember the last time he had a bad game. His consistency is crazy, and I think he's in the top 4 or 5, in that position in the Premier League in terms of someone who can play both sides. There's very few fullbacks who can go right or left and be that consistent. And every time we come up against a team who have got an effective winger, I don't think we're going to be in trouble, because Aina's can handle anyone one-on-one. He rarely struggles. Yeah, I mean, I think he's a really important player for us and someone we want to keep there long term. So hopefully it's just lazy journalism they're linking because of the former manager.
I think you're right, Mark. Sorry, Mark. I was just going to say, probably his last bad game, or his only bad game, was maybe that Fulham 5-0 away. But then everybody that night had an absolute shocker, from the team selection through to every single player on that pitch. But that's saying some, because I've been thinking back while Mark was talking, and I tell you what, he's not far off being my favourite player as well, because I think he just brings so much to the side, and you never worry. He was up against Sancho, wasn't he, at the weekend? And yeah, Sancho, bag of tricks. His transfer fees over the years must be hundreds of millions of pounds. He was absolute superstar in Dortmund, didn't quite work out for him at Man U, but now he's at Chelsea. He'll probably get someone else after that. So he's a very sought-after player. Lots of England caps, and Aina dealt with him really, really well. And he's so versatile as well. He can play him, as you were saying, Mark, wing-back, full-back, left side, right side. If you took him in a midfield, he'd probably be the best player on the pitch then. That's how good he is, and we should really try and get that contract sorted out for him.
I've often wondered how he would play in a holding midfield role, because he's so tidy in possession, isn't he? And comfortable on the ball. I think he could play that kind of role as well. I mean, we don't need him there necessarily. He's not necessarily a ball winner, but he, in the same way like Angel Gomez has come in for England, he could play that kind of role. Can he link in play? Because he's so good technically, in the same way Angel Gomez is. So yeah, he's just a really good footballer. And also, what we should mention, what a positive impact he has off the pitch as well. We see in some of the footage that the team put together, the media team put together, he's a key figure, isn't he? He's one of those players who has a personality, and that personality comes across in the media we see. And I think he's a big figure in the dressing room as a result of that.
True. Simon says Rome. I'm sure Rome has lovely meadows. Nottingham has its own meadows, slightly different cities, but I wouldn't move if I was him. Right, we've got 2 callers waiting, so I'll bring them in. Thank you for getting the ball rolling, chaps. Just before, I remember, frankly, to break it up nicely as well. Leicester City versus Nottingham Forest, October the 25th, Friday night on Sky. You can watch it at the Nav on the big screen. Happy hour drinks all night, 30% off. Chippy teas available till 9 p.m, only £8.50, or you can have pizza, obviously, in the barbecue food court. Right, let's bring in Joseph. Well done, Joseph, for getting the ball rolling. You've been going full Gary Birtles, moving your camera around in the background there, I noticed. How are you this evening?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you guys?
Good to have you with us, mate. Good to have you with us. What do you want to talk about? Ola Aina or anything else? The floor's yours.
Yeah, I first wanted to talk about Ryan Yates and how I think he should be involved in every single game for Forest this season and should start every single away game. The way, like when we were under the cosh against Chelsea and it was Madueke and Palmer linking up, firing shots as left, right and centre, how crucial it was when he got the ball, shielded and won fouls. That was so crucial. It was like a relief. It was like big few moments. He's good on the ball. He's obviously passionate. He's an engine. He doesn't run out of steam. He's perfect for away games and off the bench in a home game. He's going to be up and at it. So I think personally he should be involved in every single Forest game this season.
I'll bring Mark in there because he loves Ryan Yates winning a foul, don't you?
I do. I think the difference is he's being well coached. I think that he's beginning to understand who he is as a player and the role he plays. I think in previous seasons under Cooper, we were expecting more from him in terms of getting in the box, getting the on the set pieces, having shots and attempts on goals. Obviously, we want to jump into Trent when he scores and all that, but we know when it comes to what he can do with the ball and, you know, creativity-wise, he's not going to offer us too much. But what he does have is great industry, tenacity, strong in the tackle, and he's got that mental strength as well, where he can push the opposition to the point of breaking without actually getting himself red carded, which is very, very handy when, as you said, Joseph, when we go away from home in particular. So I think we've got to give Nuno credit. I mean, I don't know, I'm speculating, but I think that he's got hold of him in the summer in pre-season, because we know that Nuno had the pre-season this time, and he's worked with Yates and made it clear what he needs from him and what his strengths are. And I think he looks more comfortable on the ball. He looks more confident and assured as a footballer. And I think that's got to be something to do with the coaching team and Nuno.
As Boynesy says here as well, it's always good fun, away fan tweets or any opposition fan tweets in general on Ryan Yates, ever more this season. He's obviously doing something right, no doubt. What role are you playing him, Joseph, if you're picking the team? A number 6 or more box-to-box? What do you think he's best at?
I think it depends who you have partnering. I think he's very good at box-to-box, as we can see, can drive up the field and drop back in attack, but also playing him as 6 is like the sort of destroyer role almost, where no one's getting past him. He's more physical than everyone. He's got that mentality. I think if you've got someone like Danilo beside him, obviously when he's back fit in January, fingers crossed, I think he can play the deeper role and guard the box more and be more of a destroyer. But if he has someone like Sangare with him, if he's fit, or Dominguez or Ward-Prowse, I think he can play that more box-to-box role, definitely, with Ward-Prowse dominating the game, as I said last time, and Yates pushing up box-to-box. I think he can play both roles. It depends who's partnering him, really.
Just to keep Graham in the chat happy, I'll ask a question that he'll really enjoy. I've seen a few Forest fans talking about England and Yates, Mikey. I don't really see it myself because of how the international team plays. It's all possession. It's all managing games. I don't think it suits him personally. But what do you think Yates's ceiling is? Because it feels like he's improved as a footballer more in the last year, I would say, or even just this season.
Yeah, both Joseph and Mark make great points, actually. I'm nodding along. You never say never, do you? But I'm kind of in your camp, Matt. Just the way England play, the amount of options they have, it's difficult for me to foresee Yates being part of that. However, every challenge that lad's had in the last 5 years has overcome, be it dropping down to the lower leagues, being in League One, getting us promoted, being written off, coming back into the team. Like, if people watching this ask themselves a question, who's one of the first names on the team sheet for Palace game? Like, seriously, even if, yeah, regardless of the injuries we've got, I agree with Joseph, he's so integral for what we do. He can play a number of ways, but he's almost a heartbeat of the side, isn't it? And if there's a doubt about Gibbs-White, you have to have Ryan Yates in that team. So I never say never for him, Matt, because he's proven all of us wrong constantly. But I just think maybe he's found his niche now, which is winding up away fans, being integral, certainly away from home, and just being the leader in that dressing room. I think he's so important for us.
I'll drop the link in the chat again. We've got Lee waiting to come in shortly. If anyone else wants to join, just click on that link and I'll bring Lee in momentarily. What do you think about that what Mikey says, Joseph, and also anything else you want to talk about before we let you go this week?
Yeah, I completely agree with what he says. I think Yates on Palace, I was thinking this earlier, he's the first name on the team sheet. I mean, he just has to be the first name on the team sheet. He gets the crowd going. He's just, I mean, there isn't anyone like him. The way he plays, the way he tackles, the passion he shows. That goal against Sheffield United, his celebration, it's brilliant. And yeah, totally agree. One more thing I wanted to say was about, I saw this stat saying the most number of goals in the Premier League since Nuno took over, and Wood's the third after Palmer and Haaland. Just shows how with Cooper it was more of a low block, 11 or 10 men behind the ball, and that definitely suited Tyrone more with his strength and getting it up top more. But with Nuno, Wood has less yards to run. He starts higher up the field, and with pace with Elanga and Hudson-Odoi around him, or Jota Silva, whoever. Jota Silva is brilliant. I think it suits Wood more because he can focus on being good at hold-up play, especially. But his main thing, getting in space and finishing chances, which he's done. He's a more free player. It's like night and day. The Wood we saw in the 22-23 season and the start of the 23-24 season, and then since Nuno took over, he scored in his first game both, and he just couldn't stop scoring. It's like night and day. I think with the wingers and less yards to run and just focusing on moving into space, I think Nuno's turned him into a beast, honestly.
I was talking to Chris Aylmer today, Mark, about Chris Wood, talking about the amount of goals we score. The thing about Wood is as well, I mean, Erling Haaland gets a lot more chances. Chris Wood literally had one chance at Chelsea, and he'd had one chance in a few other games. Imagine how good we'd be if we gave him 3 chances a game.
Yeah, it's true. And when he misses a chance, you don't expect it. Do you remember the Spurs game when he had that chance and hit the post with that rebound? I think from Yates's shot actually. Yeah, so when he misses, you just don't expect it. He is absolutely deadly. In terms of the shot to goal conversion rate is incredibly high, and higher, as we mentioned, I think the other day, higher than other strikers who are highly regarded. And yeah, Joseph speaks really well about how we use him. I mean, that was key, I think, in that when Nuno came in and it became clear that Awani wasn't a player that we could rely upon in terms of his fitness. If we weren't able to go out and reinforce in that area, we had to get a way of playing with Chris Wood and get him being an effective goal scorer. And that is about, the players around him and getting him the service. And we saw it straight away last season, from very early on, he got on the end of crosses, didn't we? I think Uriye in the first game got a couple of assists to him. And I think that once we unlocked how to play with Chris Wood, we got the best from him. He's just been exceptional ever since, though, in terms of taking his chances. So we've got a lot to thank him for, and he continues to deliver even this season, where we expected perhaps someone else to come in or Awani to be fit and take that shirt off him. It hasn't happened, and he doesn't look like giving it up anytime soon.
No, yeah, massively. 200 people watching. If you don't want to jump in the chat, that's fine, but do us a favour and hit like on the video. It would make a big difference. Joseph, I'm going to let you go and bring Lee in. Very good points there, especially with the Wood one with the higher line. I hadn't even particularly thought of that myself. So, yeah, spot on. Good to see you again, and we shall see you soon, mate.
Thank you all. Bye.
Cheers. See you later. Right, let's add Lee in. Lee, good to see you again, mate. How are you this evening?
I'm fine. Are you? Are we all good?
Good. Yeah, very well. Thank you. Very well. What do you want to talk about tonight?
The mentality of the whole squad. When we played Chelsea, we lost James Ward-Prowse, and we think we're going to go for a 1-1. But the mentality changed with the whole of the side, and we actually thought we can actually go on to do this with 10 men. And it's nice to see a different mentality come from, obviously this has been instilled both from Nuno to the whole of the squad, that beforehand we'd have probably settled for the point. But against Chelsea, we weren't going to settle for that. We wanted to go and get all 3. And it's just so exciting to watch them all together. And the likes of Jota Silva, when Wood scored, Jota Silva's all over Wood. He's jumping over like a rash. He's one of the first ones there. We have got, I think, a brilliant mentality this season from the whole squad. And if it carries on this way, I'm going to change my prediction and go, I'm not going for 14th. I'm going top 10. I really think we are. I think we could be onto something this time around. If we can keep keep Woods fit, I think we're onto something. And teams will fear us, especially away from home, because they don't like us. They just don't. They like to Yates especially. They just don't like us. We're putting up something different, and I think top 10s. It could be on the cards. I really do.
I think the other thing that Chelsea showed, Mikey, and Liverpool, I think it demonstrated as well a mentality that they're very well coached players. They're very well drilled. When we went 5-4 non, that's difficult to play and carry any kind of a threat, and we did it. I know there's doubts about home form and sometimes Nuno subs, but the work on the training ground and the buy-in from the players is very evident, isn't it?
It is, yeah, absolutely. I concur with what he's saying as well. I think, we were saying after the Fulham game, is that a blip, or were the away games just a bit of a fluke? And I think we've almost proved it was a blip, because you're absolutely right. When we went down to 10 men, I texted a friend and said, we'll do really well to hold on here, because there's a lot of injury time coming up. You leave the ground, you're thinking, should have won. Like that team went for it in the end. Yes, we set up because it's Chelsea away, and they're chucking on player after player after player to try and win the game. Millions and millions and millions of pounds worth of talent. We set up to do our best, but there was no camping on the edge of our box. Like, you look at the chances we have, there's numerous players in the box. There's the fullbacks or the wing-backs, as they were, overlapping with Nico's chance. We could have taken it in the corner at the end, but Ola's swinging it into the box last minute to try and get the header, to try and win. So there is that flip of mentality, in the sense that we've got a nice shape now that's working away from home. Yes, we're under it a bit because we've got 10 men, but we've still got enough talent on that pitch to nick it. And by God, they almost did. So it makes you really positive, knowing that we're not always going to go down to 10 men. And, during the end of the game, when there's 10, 15 minutes to go, this side, more often than not, will try and win the game. And I'm all for that.
What about this point, Lee? That I'll put this up on the screen from Mike Boinsey and see what you want to say about the home form. Worst home form in the league since Nuno took over, I believe. I'm not sure that's right, but obviously it might well be, and obviously it is an issue. Are you worried about it, or do you view is last season so far in the rear view mirror that only this season's relevant? How do you view that?
No, I'm not overly worried. After the Fulham game, he came out and admitted that he got it wrong. And Nuno's very astute. He knows when he's got it wrong, and he will change it, and he will learn from it himself. He's not a daft man. He's not silly at all. I do think that we've been a bit quiet at the City ground. I mean, that Fulham game, especially, we were quiet. I think we could do a little bit more to help the team along by chanting a lot more, shouting a lot more, singing a lot more. But Nuno knows. He knows what the crack is. I do think he says he took wrong. We know that it was wrong. We know our best team. It has to have Hudson-Odoi in it. Alanga maybe. But Nuno's not. He's not daft. I'm not overly worried about the home form, because I think that can click in at any time, and I think it'll probably click in against the Palace game. I really do. I think they'll come out for that game, and I think we'll see Palace off. I don't rate Palace particularly well. Yeah, I'm not overly worried at all. I have so much faith in the back four. They're just solid. They're just brilliant. The pair, just all four of them together. Midfield, Yates. Joseph was bang on with Yates. Yates, he's just so good at the moment. He's got a new lease of life again. So no, I'm not overly worried about the home form. I think we'll be fine. It'd be interesting to see where our two centre backs actually rate out of the whole Premier League. I've put them probably top 5. They're probably in the top 5. I don't know if Mark's got any stats on them or not, but I think they've got to be at least top 5 two centre backs in the whole of the country. They must be, but we're just not conceding.
Yeah, you need to stand next to Pete Blackburn at the City Ground firstly, because he won't be quiet then. He's loud as hell. I'll ask the chaps that. We'll talk about the centre backs actually in a sec. Just on the home games, Mark, that Lee raises, Palace, West Ham, and Newcastle are interesting opponents. I was saying the other day, they sit quite deep. I don't know how they're showing up defensively this season. Palace seem a bit of a I don't know. They're not clicking. What are your thoughts on those 3 opponents?
Yeah, they're winnable games, aren't they? And I think this is now could be a sliding doors moment in terms of where our season goes. Because if we can do anything like the kind of form we showed against Fulham on that great night at the City Ground under lights with Nuno, where we rattled in 3 goals in the first half, where we can put in a home performance like that, then suddenly the two things come together, the home and away ability to play and the tactics we've got come together. I think I'm a little concerned that when the onus is on us to break down a team, we struggle. Away from home, the onus is always on the home side, and I think the way we set up and the players we've got works really well with that, as we've seen, and Nuno's done brilliantly to do that. Now he's got to solve the puzzle at home, hopefully with Gibbs-White, and we've got the players to do it because he's shown he can do it, and that Fulham performance is the one that stands out for me. So I'm hoping that's what we get, and Lee's right. If we can get behind the team like we did that night, and we see that kind of performance, then I'm with Lee. I think you've got to start reassessing what we can get from this season. But the home form is key, right? It always has been, and we need to get re-establish ourselves as a strong home team and City Ground as a fortress. If we do that, then who knows where the season can take us.
Mikey, let's play a quick game then of ranking centre-half pairings in the Premier League. I'll read the pairings and you've got to say if Milenkovic and Murillo are better than... this is by Premier League table order. Would you take them over Van Dijk and Konate?
No.
No, I wouldn't either, to be honest. Sadly. Man City, let's say Diaz and Stones.
No, I don't think so.
Saliba and Gabriel?
No chance. They're the best.
Yeah, they're the best. Colwell and Fofana?
Oh, potentially, yeah. I think I probably would.
I would as well. Torres and say Konsa?
Probably, or Costa. Probably not, but not far off. They're probably just slightly under them. But now you'll be pushing.
I'll switch to Mark. Your turn, Mark. Dunk and Van Heck?
I think that's pretty easy. I do like Van Heck. Dunk has definitely regressed, so I would say yes, probably they're stronger than those two.
Burn and Cher, Mark?
They're better than Burn and Cher, yeah.
Anderson and Calvin Bassey?
Well, they've been, since Anderson's arrived, they've been really effective. I didn't rate Bassey, but he's looked better with Anderson alongside it. I still think Murillo and Milenkovic are better. Got it right.
Yeah. Last one for you, Romero and Van der Ven.
No, give it to the Spurs pairing. They're a good pairing, I think. Although they concede a lot of goals, I think as a pair, they complement each other very well. So I do like that. That Spurs backline.
Van der Ven's elite, to be fair. Let's switch to you then, Lee. We'll go through the rest of the table while we're here. If I know the answer to all of these, I actually don't think I do. Whoever, Collins and Pinnock at Brentford?
Oh, yeah, but miles above.
Whoever the West Ham defenders are?
I don't think about West Ham.
They change every week.
They change every week, I know. Okay, Senesi and Zabani at Bournemouth. That's a decent pair.
They're better than them. They are. They're definitely. Murillo is learning more and more from Milenkovic every game. No, they're not in the same class. Definitely not.
I'll just do a couple more and then we'll move on. Maguire and Johnny Evans.
Oh my good grief, definitely. Oh my life. Yeah,
I thought I'd do that one facetiously.
I think you could get a pairing out of us four that would be better than that.
Last one.
Especially with me.
Last one, the Tarkovsky and Jared Branthwaite.
I like Branthwaite, but I still rate R2 better. As a pairing, definitely, yeah, R2 are better. Branthwaite's good, but you're looking at the pair of them, ours are better.
So I'll just do a very rough count there. 1, 2, 3, 4.
6th or 7th, aren't they? I reckon.
Yeah.
I think 5th. I can't remember who exactly we said, to be honest. 5th or 6th. Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, if we're being realistic, I mean, like Saliba and Gabriel are class, and Konate.
They're just on a different stratosphere, aren't they? I think with Liverpool, I think with Van Dijk, I think he's getting a bit older these days, and he's susceptible to the odd mistake. But yeah, I think Saliba and Gabriel, they're just out there with, they're just too good on.
It is mad, Mark, that we were even debating it after finishing 17th in the league last 2 seasons. To be
I was happy with McKenna, Cook, and Worrell not so long ago. So yeah, I mean, we haven't mentioned Palace there. I think Gahey and the new signing they bring in. They got Chalobah, of course, and Lacroix. Yeah, that's it. So those 3 are coming to the City Ground next, and I do think that's quite an impressive back 3 that we might struggle to break down. But I think the key to breaking them down is get them isolated with the wingers, because that will be trouble for them, I think. So, but as long as Chris Wood can occupy that 3, then we'll be all right. But yeah, Gahey's a good player. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, massively. Lee, any final thoughts before I let you go? Anything you want to add quickly?
No. I love this podcast, Matt. I think it's brilliant. I just like this little interaction you can have with the likes of Mikey and Mark and Emily from the last one. I just think it's a great little format, and they're really good. And I love the podcast, so just keep up the good work. I think they're really, really good.
Thank you very much. Where are you this evening?
Oh, I am in Doncaster Services tonight, and it's absolutely tipping it down. So not very nice.
Lee, have you had roast lamb for dinner, or have you had a pie?
No, tonight I have had hot pot.
Nice.
Well, that's all right.
I've had hot pot. Yeah, I've done it
in the microwave.
Yeah, it's a ding ding meal tonight. Yeah. No, I can't live up to Matt's chef.
Who can? I mean, yeah.
He's on a different stratosphere as well with me.
Oh, he is.
Glad you're recognising it. Right, Lee, thank you very much. Good to see you as ever. Look after yourself, mate.
Take care. Cheers, boys.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers. Bye. Right. I think that's pretty much it for core team. That's all good. And good contributions made by both as ever. Just a quick word for our second sponsors of this episode, if I can find the slide. Home Move Estate Agents. Thanks very much to Ben for all his backing. I think one of the adverts that I did got some notice from The Guardian, going to feature him in their property section, some of his houses, which is very exciting. So yeah, good for him. He's doing fine work. If you're looking to buy or sell in the Nottingham area, then do get in touch with Home Move Estate Agents. They are, of course, 5-star rated on Google, which shows they're doing good work. Yes. Right, Mikey, any final words, any final thoughts before we depart?
No, not really. I think this is the first one I've done of Callers Calling, and I enjoyed it. It was really good. I think both the guys made brilliant points. So, yeah, really good. Thanks for asking me on. I think the only other thing I'd say, and this is just going back to Lee's point just then about just making that push at home, and it also links into what Mark was saying. We are so close to an unbelievable first third of the season. So we've cracked that away form. Our away form since we got promoted has been pretty sad, let's be honest. Right? We found the formula away from home. We're horrible to play against, so much so that other journalists are writing nasty stories about us, and it's winding up fan bases. Great. That's what we want. We don't want to be easy to play against. We've often been a soft touch. If we can now flick the switch at home, and that requires everybody just stepping up their game just a little bit. So putting the right team on the pitch, and that's the responsibility of the manager and the coaches, delivering the performance, the managers, the players, but also getting that extra 5 or 10%, which we've seen over the last few seasons has got this team over the line. So I just implore everybody on Monday, have a few beers, get down there, sing your hearts out, because I think Palace will be a tough nut to crack, but it could be a very special night, and the table will look insane if we win that game. But we will then be in the top 10 and pushing, which is going to be incredible. So I'm really pleased with what I've seen this season, Matt. I think everybody's on the main really positive. But I always want more. I always think this team's capable of so much, and it is, because I've seen it. We've just been to Liverpool, Chelsea, and Brighton and not lost, and could have arguably won them all. So, yeah, keep the positivity, get down there on week on Monday and get the boys home.
Yeah, we are so close. I'm not quite revising any predictions just yet until I see us winning at home and scoring a couple more goals, but very on the brink of like a really, really exciting season. Mark, any final thoughts from you?
Yeah, just to echo what Mikey was saying there, I think in the past the home form has been key, and we've kind of not been able to build momentum because we have a good performance at home and maybe a result, then we go away from home, we lose 2 or 3-0, and then we lose momentum. And we've got the opportunity to chain a series of good results together, home and away, and push up the table and build that belief. And then we don't really know where that can take us if we can achieve that. So I think this spell now, having come out of those difficult away games, so positive. We've got Leicester away and then 3 home games around that. They're all winnable. If we can dream about getting 10, 11 points from those games, that would be, incredible. And yeah, the table look amazing. So we're on the brink of something special, like Mikey says there. And it's about belief. The belief is there in the team. You can see it. You can see it in the fact we went to Stamford Bridge and Anfield and played as we did. We've got to get the belief back in the stands for the home games, I think, as Lee and Lee was saying there. If we can do that and we unlock a performance on Monday night against Palace and 3 points, it's very exciting indeed. Yeah.
Excellent. A couple of bits from me just to finish before we go. Get well soon, Gary Lamb, who's a regular listener and viewer of the podcast. I think he was going to the England game tomorrow. I'm not sure if he is now, but hopefully he is. Get well soon, Gary, and thanks for all your support. Like I said, Henry Winter podcast is out tomorrow morning, so do check that out. Interesting stuff on us in general, Milenkovic, Yates, the Nuno, and also the state of the Premier League. It sounds like it's an absolute car crash waiting to happen around the whole Man City thing and the war that's on the horizon between clubs. So interesting to speak to Henry about that. The other thing I was going to ask these chaps, Mrs. Davies was away for 2 nights, so the world's my oyster for TV to watch. I ended up watching Due South. Do you remember that? Either of you?
Yeah, my word. Is that still on?
No.
Wow.
It's from the mid-90s. The Canadian Mountie and the Chicago Cop.
What made you go there, Matt? What drew you to that particular series?
I don't know. I stumbled on it. It was on YouTube. Okay. It wasn't even on all the, we've got Netflix, Amazon, Disney, other apps are available. I ended up watching old episodes of Due South on YouTube. So, there you go. Do you not remember it, Mark?
Yeah, I do, but I didn't watch it. And so that makes it even less likely I'm going to go and watch it now, I imagine. But no, not something I remember fondly anyway.
Very good. Well, you should check it out. When's the next Black Box if you want to do a free advert? Are you doing one this week?
We're probably going to do one at the weekend, actually, because I'm away in Sofia next week. So we'll probably do a shortened version ahead of game week 7, game week 8 rather. So we'll probably do something. I think we're looking at Sunday night. So yeah, if you're an FBLer, come and join us over on FBL Black Box Sunday night.
Very Sunday night viewing, excellent. Pointy says Mr. McMahon on Netflix is a great watch. If anyone else wants to drop recommendations in after we've gone, that's fine. But do watch us, and we shall be back tomorrow with Henry Winter, as I said. And then after that, that's out on Thursday. We might not be back till Monday after that, I would say, because obviously it's an international break. Anything big happens, then I'll jump on. But otherwise, Mikey, thank you very much for your company this evening.
No, absolute pleasure. And whilst we're talking about TV, really, really quickly.
Oh no, Mikey. Your recommendations are always something horrifically bloodthirsty and of a horror nature.
Yeah, this one's all right. So, for those that have got Sky, it's a TV program called The Leftovers. There's 3 seasons of it. It's from sort of maybe 5-10 years ago. It is the best TV show ever written by a country mile. Some of the writing in season 2 is just phenomenal. So please check that out. It's basically about half the world just disappears. Like people just disappear and nobody knows what's happened. So there's things around religion and space and all. So it is absolutely crazy, but the writing is fantastic. You should have watched that instead of 90s Mountie episodes, Matt, yesterday.
You didn't tell me that, did you? You didn't tell me that.
Put it on your list.
I should do. I forgot to say this as well. I'm terrible at like promoting channel membership, which
are shocking.
I'm a horrific businessman. If you're a channel member, you get access to any recorded interview. You get early access to it, including the Henry Winter one. So yeah, if you sign up for membership, you can see that now. I am terrible. I watch Black Box, and you and Az are absolutely slick at promoting Patreon. And
We're not the best. Some of them are absolutely well over the top. But that's what you got to do. Apparently, you've got to be enthusiastic about hitting the likes and smashing the subscribe button, or the other way around. I can't even remember these days.
I know I do that, but I don't want to be too full on with everything else. Mark Sutherns, thank you very much.
No, thanks, Matt. I'm going to go and have my sausage and mash, which I prefer roast lamb, but I'll settle for that.
Did you make the sausage and mash?
No, I can't take credit for that. No, but I know you make all the meals in your house. That's very impressive.
I do. Right, enjoy sausage and mash. Enjoy your evenings, everyone, whatever you're doing this evening. And like I say, if I don't see you tomorrow, then we shall see you soon.